Dear students, today I am going to deliver the lectures on the significance of the system approach. And this is one of the important chapters of the comparative governments and politics. When we're talking about the system approach, is also known as system theory, is a holistic analytical frameworks that view an entity, organizations, or process as a complex and interconnected systems. It emphasizes that relationship and interactions between the parts of the systems and how they contribute to the whole. This approach has wide-ranging applications in the fields of such as management, engineering, biology, sociology, and more. Here are the details and significance of the system approach. One of the important approach that is called the holistic approach. And holistic approach that is interconnectedness, focus on the interconnectedness and interconnections between the different components of the system. That means when we talking about the interconnected, that means we focus on the system of networking and whole system, analyzing the system as a whole rather than just individual parts, understanding that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. That means key individuals or whole is very important things than sum of its parts. Then come to the components of the system approach. Elements. When we're talking about the elements, that is individual parts or components that make up the systems. Relationship, the interactions and connections between the elements. Boundary, the limits that define the scope of the systems. Environments, the extent context in which the system operate, which can influence and be influenced by the systems. This is very important part of the things. The types of the system, open structure, the system that interact with their environment and exchange matter, energy or informations. Closed system with minimal interactions with their environment, often the historical significance. Most real world systems are open to some degree. This is very important parts. Next is feedback loops. Positive feedbacks imply changes and can lead to the exponential growth or declines. Negative feedbacks counters changes, promoting stability and equilibrium within the systems. This is very important parts of these things. Next is subsystem. System often consists of a small subsystem such as its own elements and interactions, contributing to the overall functions of the main systems. That is also part of the system approach. Emergent property, characteristics or behaviors that emerge from the interactions and relationship within the system which cannot be understood by analyzing individuals components alone. Significance, that is holistic understandings, promote a comprehensive understanding of complex system by considering all components and their interrelationships. Helps identity how change in one part of the system can affect other parts and the system as a whole. Interdisciplinary applications, the system approach is applicable across various disciplines from organizational management to environmental science and enhancing collaborations and knowledge transfer between these fields. Problem solving and decision makings facilitate better problem solving and decision making by considering the broader context and long-term consequences of actions. Encourage a more strategic and integrated approach to addressing the issue. Adaptability and flexibility help system adapt to change in the environment by understanding feedbacks mechanisms and dynamic interactions. Promote resilience by recognizing and preparing for potential disturbance. This is very important parts of the things. Next is efficiency and optimizations. Ident- Identify inefficiency and area for improvements within the systems. leading to a more effective and optimized performance. Enhance resources allocations by understanding the interdependence and priority within the system. Sustainability and resilience support sustainable developments by considering the environment, social, and economic impact of the actions on the entire systems. Build resilience by identifying vulnerability and strengthening the system's capacity to withstand and recover from the disturbance. This is very important part of the system approach. Next is that is innovative and creativity, encouraging innovative thinkings by breaking down soils and fostering a more integrative approach to a complex problems. Helps generate creative solutions by explaining interactions and emergent property within the systems. This is important parts of the things. Next is that is called the criticisms is important parts of the system approach. The system approach, while valuable for its holistics and integrative perspectives, has several criticisms and limitations. Here are key criticisms like complexity and practicability. Complexity, the system approach often involves analyzing numerous components and their interactions, while which can become overwhelming complex. This complexity can make it difficult to apply in practical scenario, especially where quick decisions are needed. Resource intensive. Comprehensive system analysis requires significant times, efforts, and resources. Similar, smaller organizations or projects within limited resources may be find it challenges to implement. This is very important parts of the resources intensive. Next is overgeneralizations, loss of specificity. In its effort to the holistics, the system approach may overgeneralize and the loss sight of its specific details that are crucial for understanding particular aspects of the system. Broader applications issue applying broad principles of diverse fields can sometimes result in superficial understandings without addressing the unique nonsense of each results. Modeling's difficulty, simplified models, creating accurate models of complex systems is challenging. Simplifying may not capture all the relevant interactions and dynamics leading to the incomplete or inaccurate conclusions. Predictability issue, the unpredictable natures of the complex systems, especially those involves human behavior, can make it difficult to create reliable models and forecasts. Potential for over emphasis on stability, a stability for over the change. That means the focus on the feedback mechanisms and equilibrium can lead to an overemphasis on maintaining a stability, potentiality, downplaying, and the importance of change, innovations, and disturbance. Resistance to the change. System thinking can be sometimes foster to conservative approach that resist necessary changes, especially in dynamics and rapidly evolving environments. Ambiguity in boundary, defining boundary, that means determining the boundary of a system can be ambiguous and subjective, leading to a different interactions and analysis. These can complicate it and applications of the system approach. Interconnected systems. In reality, systems are often interconnected with other systems, making it difficult to isolate one system for analysis without considering its interactions with the others. This is very important part of the system approach. Now come to the measurements and the quantifications challenge. Quantifying interactions, measuring and quantifying the interactions between the uh, components can be difficult, especially when dealing with the qualitative actors such as human behaviors and organizational culture. Data overload, the need for extensive data to understand the system comprehensively can lead to the data overload. making it hard to identify relevant insights, potential for ambiguous outcomes, ambiguous results, the broad and interactive natures of the system analysis can be sometimes lead to the ambiguous or inconclusive outcomes, making it challenges to the drivers clear, actionable, and recommendations. Multiple interpretations, different analyses might interpret the same systems differentially leading to a vary conclusions and recommendations. This is very important part of the system approach. Next, that is called the ideologicals and theoretical criticisms. Ideological basis criticism argue that the system approach can sometimes reflect ideological basis, particularly when applied in sciences, where it might be implicitly support existing power, structurals, and social norms. Theoretical rigidity, some criticism believe that the system approach can be too rigid in its theoretical framework, limiting creativity and flexibility in addressing unique problems. Over reliance on technical solutions. Technical focus. There can be an over reliance on technical and structural solutions, potentially neglecting human cultural and emotional factors that are critical for understanding and solving problems in systems involving peoples. Neglect of soft issue, important soft issues such as leaderships, ethics, and organizational cultures might be understanding in the favor of more quantifiable elements. These are the very important parts of the criticisms. Now come to this is the last one, that is the system approach provides available frameworks for understandings and managing complexity. These criticism highlights its limitations and challenging. Recognizing these criticism can help practitioners apply the approach more effectively, balancing its holistic perspective with practical considerations and adaptability to a specific context. Thank you. This is the last lectures. Thank you very much for your patience and hearing the lectures.